shit. Oh, it's setting up. Okay.
We're live.
Says we're live. We're gonna give people a couple minutes to hop on, and then we'll go live. I'll wait like a minute or two.
Where can you tell how many people are on?
I'll let you know how much people are on.
All right.
Or Shay will let you know. All right, everybody ready? Hello, Facebook. Hello, everybody out there. Welcome to day 2 of our youth-driven substance abuse conference, Walking the Red Road Together. I am your host. I am the prevention coordinator at Two Feathers. My name is Chris Shaw. I'm your host. Today we have a entirely new conversation with 2 of our mentors and 1 of our youth, along with a special guest. So before we start, I will introduce our 2 mentors, Amada and Naishian. I will introduce our youth, Jaimie, and then I will introduce our special guest. So to start, Amada, I'll start with you. How are you doing today? And tell us a little something about yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amada Lang. I'm a Karuk native and a current youth mentor for Two Feathers Family Services, as well as a youth respite worker for Changing Tides. I'm currently in the Environment and Community Graduate Program at HSU, and I'm excited to be here with everyone today about this virtual roundtable discussion, and happy to have all the viewers tuning in and just to get a whole bunch of different little bit of youth in these Indigenous speaker series. So thank you.
And Naishian, you are our other mentor. How are you doing today? And why don't you tell a little something about yourself?
All right. Hey, thanks, Chris. Yeah, so my name's Naishian Richards. Hey, I was going to introduce myself in Hoopa, but kind of threw a blank. I'm really nervous, but I'm also excited about this panel. We've had meetings, and so I'm trying to make this feel like a meeting. But yeah, I'm doing really good. We have some good topics to talk about, so I'm excited for that. Yeah, I'm also a mentor with the Two Feathers program, and I'm really, really glad that they added me back on. So thanks.
I'm happy you guys are here. It's okay to be nervous. I'm nervous too. I'm always nervous when I'm on here, so you guys are okay. Our youth is also on here with us. I know she's nervous too, but I want to let her know it's okay. Jaimie, how are you today? And why don't you tell us a little something about yourself?
Okay. Hi, my name is Jaimie Christian. I'm 18 years old. I'm Choctaw Cherokee. I was born and raised in Eureka, California. I graduated high school at 17 in a group home. I've experienced addiction, juvenile hall, probation, and foster care. I'm currently focusing on learning how to live a better life than what I've known to be normal.
Wow, you don't sound nervous at all. You sound good. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for talking about your story. And our final guest on our talk today is Mr. Gussto, Edward Gussto Bowie. Gussto is a mentor of mine and a funny person. So Gussto, why don't you talk about a little bit about yourself and explain who you are?
Hello, everybody. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to sit here on this panel. It's a blessing. I give thanks for every day. You know, it's just it's an honor that I could be here today. And I'm a Bear River Band tribal member. I'm a descendant of Hoopa, Yurok, and Redwood Creek. And I'm just blessed to be a part of this. And if I can reach out in any way I can to help to be a positive influence in our next generation and to make a difference, I'm all for it, because there was obstacles in my way that was, you know, placed in front of me, and I inherited some, and I've overcame some. So I'm a recovering alcoholic and an addict too. So, and I'm just blessed to be here today. And you guys, I encourage you to ask some questions, you know, that you need some answers for, you know, and I'll do my best to share my story with you. And like I said, it's an honor to be here. And yeah, so welcome everybody in a good way.
Thank you, Gussto, for being on here with us. And I know before we start this little roundtable, I know you have an acknowledgement and a prayer for us. So hopefully you can start off our conversation with that.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so before we start our discussion off today, I want to encourage all the viewers and ask questions in the comment section as the talk carries along, and we will answer as many questions as we can at the end of the discussion. As a group, we have come up with some questions to ask me in the pertain to your story, to my story in sobriety and the obstacles that I have overcome and the way substance abuse has touched our lives in some form. And we appreciate being being open for this discussion for the community today and Native youth tuning in and who are part of this conference. So I want to thank everybody for, tuning in today and, reaching out, because I believe we have some things in common today and that we can talk about, we can touch on and move forward. So with that, I'm going to open up with a prayer. So, what low Ayukui creator, I thank you for this day. I thank you for blessing us with our family. I thank you for this path that we're on, creator. I ask you to guide our paths in a good way and keep us on this red road and just keep our families safe, keep our relatives, our elders safe today, creator, and keep us making good, healthy decisions in our life today, creator, and let us pave the path for our next generation today, creator, and come into our lives and help us make good decisions in our life. Ooh.
Thank
Thank
you,
you for
Gussto.
that. Amada, I'm going to have you kind of start our conversation off. So start it off.
Sounds good, Chris. Thank you for that introduction as well. And thank you, Gussto, for opening up in that prayer. And we just wanted to acknowledge that we are also on We Out Land today. And thank you for that lovely introduction. And just as well, Gussto, thank you for being here and letting us ask questions and kind of dig into your personal journey of sobriety and the obstacles that you've kind of dealt with to come to where you are today. And again, before we start this discussion, please, any viewers, we would like you to ask any questions in the question forum on our Facebook Live, and we will have those ready at the end of the discussion. As a group, we've kind of come up with some questions to help ask Gussto that pertain to sobriety and different obstacles that have come along his way. But for the first person that will start us off today, I think Naishian, you want to do that, please?
Yeah, thank you, Amada, and thank you, Gussto, for being live with us today. I'm really grateful to be on this panel and to talk on a subject that has disrupted many local Indigenous communities and families. When I was listening to your story and your journey, I heard of emotional and spiritual change within yourself, along with others that you've changed. But my question, what I want to start with is how and where did you find healthy and positive support through your sobriety?
Well, I found it was right in front of me. All this time it was right in front of me. I just had to really open my eyes and start thinking clearly because I was so clouded with not thinking clearly. It was because of my drug use, my alcohol abuse that I wasn't thinking clearly when all the healing was I just had to really open my eyes and look around and really it was all the way from all the rivers, all the mountains, all the medicine it was just right in front of me. I just had to really focus on it because it was right there in front of me all this time, and plus it was the community, people on the same struggles. They were having the same struggles. They were having the same issues I was having. And meetings, I was going to meetings, NA meetings, gatherings. Sweat Lodge was a big part of my recovery too. Once I got in there, I I prayed on it, and I believe Creator has answered some prayers of mine. And that's why I'm at where I'm today, is because I offered up them prayers and prayed for my path to be on a good road, on the red road. And I mean, I'm so thankful today because I feel I'm on that road. And that's what took me. It just took me a long time to really open my eyes and see it, but it was there in front of me the whole time. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, Nation, and thank you. That was a great answer to that question. I think sometimes some of us, the stuff that we're trying to deal with and stuff, we don't realize it's right in front of us when we're going through those challenges and those obstacles. And some of the opening questions we kind of have towards community and family in that sense. And I believe Jaimie has a question that she would like to share.
All right, sorry, I'm nervous. Okay. Hi, Gussto. My question is coming from personal experience. I started using at a very young age. I didn't do well in school. I did what I did do good was sell drugs, which gave me a good feeling. A good feeling like I was doing something right for the first time. My question is, how did you let go of being caught up in the mix and the excitement that came with it? You know, that feeling of being like the big dog. What advice do you have for the youth struggling with that now?
I would say that you got to be careful on the decisions that you make in life when you're in the mix like that, because the wrong decision can lead you down a dark path. It can lead you down the road to where there's, it could be the end. So I I guess for me, it would be I really had to start making some healthy decisions in my life and good decisions that was going to be a positive impact in my life. So sure, the rush was there of the whole excitement of, you know, um, being on the run from the cops, being chased by the cops. Like there was a little rush there of excitement. Like it was pretty crazy to be getting in a high speed chase with the cops and them trying to catch me, you know, being on Humboldt's Most Wanted. And here I thought it was like, okay, yeah, I'm on Humboldt's Most Wanted. They're looking for me, whatever. I thought I was like, okay, I thought it was cool, but really looking back, it was some bad decisions and bad choices that I made. And I'm glad that I got out of that mix. And because now I can be a good positive role model to our next generation, to our kids, to our families, to somebody, a total stranger. I could be a good positive influence to and share some stuff that I don't even talk with my own family about, just and help them. So I hope that answered some of your question.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Jaimie. That was a really good question, I think, and it kind of opens the doors to this discussion. And for myself, for substance abuse, it just touched me kind of in a family aspect. I've had my parents, my mom currently is still kind of going down the path of trying to find her way in this. And so I really enjoy seeing Gussto and his journey and the stuff that he's done, because people can't say they can't do it if somebody has done it, I think. And I think it's clear as day, like what you said, it's right in front of you. And being a Native person, I think there's some resources here locally with the Native community being so open. But just thank you for that. And my question is kind of my first one is for, I guess you can say this question is for people coming from a family of generations of substance abuse users. How do you break that chain, and what are the steps in that direction?
That is a very good question, and I feel that's going to be a really good topic of discussion because I came from a family of where there was abuse. There was alcohol abuse, there was drug abuse, and as I was growing up, that's what I seen, and I thought that's how we did it. I thought that's how we live is we drink and party and have fun. But now that I'm growing up, you know, I had kids and I have nieces and nephews, and I realized that drinking and drugging was not a good way. Um, being around my kids and my nieces and nephews, being under the influence was not good. It really opened up my eyes. Like, what are you? I guess I was doing some self inventory. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you even doing this and doing that and then going there? And it really hit me pretty hard to where I I did not want to. I didn't want to see my kids see me drunk or using. So I made a positive change in my life to where my younger kids, they've never seen me drink. They've never seen me under the influence. And I'm a positive role model to where I'm teaching them in a good way. So I guess how to break that change is stop drinking and drugging and don't bring my kids around people that are actively using, and take them to, you know, people that are good, healthy people, you know, and family that's on the right track, you know, and just learning how to break that cycle is a pretty tough one to do. And I believe it's important. It's really important, you know, coming from someone that's been down there, that's lived a lifestyle of being raised around drinking and partying. So yeah. And my partner, she doesn't drink. She's also recovering. So we're both in recovery, and we're still healing, and we don't drink. We don't have none of that stuff in our house. So it's definitely a progress. So thank you for that question. That is a really tough question.
Thank you for answering it. I think it pertains to different people, whether it's just anybody, because this is some families deal with this in all aspects from younger to older. I think too, just a really small follow up is like, what was your first steps in that process when you were kind of decided, like, I know just from seeing from experience as well as some research, it's shown like kind of some substance abuse users will kind of go through the path of a few times relapse before they actually get to that spot. And so what was your kind of, no, I'm going to do this, signify this, so it can get you to how long you've been clean for now?
Yeah. So I've been clean and sober for over 7.5 years. So I got clean and sober February 13th. And thanks to a good support group and UIHS, where I went there and got AOD and I got counseling. I did after AOD, which is like an aftercare, and then going to sweat lodges was a big part of my recovery. And I guess when it really hit me was when I lost some people I really love and care about, and because of drugs and alcohol, you know, I was losing. I didn't know how to, you know, I guess be there. I guess I could have helped make a, you know, a decision to where it was going to be healthy for them and for me, and then just not being there was a big thing, you know. Being locked up and then not being able to be with my family when somebody passes away was a huge one for me. You know, it was like, I don't want to do this no more. I was in and out of prisons all the time, and I decided, you know what, enough is enough. I'm done. You know, it took me 30 years to finally, you know, make the decision that I was not going to use no more, and I needed to start making a positive change in my life. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I think it's sometimes seems like it's a big something eye-opening seems to happen, or it's just like one of those times where you're finally like, this is enough. And thank you for being courage. Like, that takes a lot of courage to share your stories too. So thank you, Gussto. And I actually have a question from the comment section. It kind of pertains to what we were talking about. Naishian's dad actually asked a question, wanted to ask, what are your thoughts about a person with numerous relapses?
I would say don't give up. Do not give up. Keep moving forward and it'll come. I mean, there's going to be a time when I've had numerous relapses. I didn't get it right the first time. There was several relapses, you know, and the relapses got shorter and shorter for me. Like I would relapse and then I'd go on a run and then my health was bad, you know, and then I'd get clean and then I'd relapse again and then it'd be a shorter time before I got clean. And then it was shorter and shorter and shorter and then finally, you know, enough was enough, you know, and went to detox center and good thing there was a sweat lodge right there, man, because I went and sweated all that stuff out and really prayed heavy on it. And, you know, Yvonne was there, Yvonne Ross was there, you know, and there was some people that are not here with us today, but they were a big influence in my life, you know. And his name was Awak Lee Crum. He was a spiritual sweat leader, and he made it. He helped me get back on my feet, and really, that's where my relapse stopped. I just didn't pick up again. So
Thank you. Yes, that I think that help is helpful. I think that's just in general. Thank you, Nation's Dad, for actually asking that. I feel it pertains a lot. A lot of this is hitting home to me and just hearing all of this too. So thank you. And if Jaimie would like just to share maybe some of her challenges that she maybe overcame and accomplished, or just something that you feel comfortable in that sense.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
You're fine. What just maybe some of the challenges you've overcame to get where you are and to be on the path that you are with being here today talking in this series?
I think the hardest part was for me, like finding out who I really was, you know, being comfortable in my own skin, accepting it's okay to be different from what I know. You know what I mean? Like I still have a hard time with that sometimes, you know, but I'm working on it. You know, it's hard, but you know, I'm overcoming it more and more.
Yeah, I think it shows a lot too that you're being a leader today and doing that today in your native community. I think that speaks immensely. So thank you for being here too. And I will go ahead and let Nation, we have a few more questions from the audience too, but I'll go ahead and let Nation just ask maybe one of the questions she prepared and keep it flowing like that.
Yeah, thank you, Amada. We've had previous meetings about these topics, and I feel like I kind of just lost all of my questions. But when we talk about the break in the chain, it's a talk that always comes up. But having these interviews like this right now is a perfect example of talking about it, because how do you do it? How do you keep being consistent with it, especially as youth and people in the community? So Jaimie, I really appreciate, you know, you kind of explaining how you feel like personally, and that right there is like healing, and that's powerful. So I thank you, and thank you, Gussto, for explaining that, you know, your story too. So I guess my question would be more on having, it's kind of like cultural practicing. What kind of major interest in that? And that can be this is a question open for everybody. Amada, Gussto, Jaimie, whoever wants to take it first, go ahead and go for it.
I'll go ahead and go since everybody else is nervous, but you know, I'm a little nervous too, but I guess for me is staying connected, staying connected to creator and just recognizing everything around us, and really giving thanks to Mother Earth and everything that she provides for us. I mean, even all the way up to the stars in the sky, it's just a blessing. And just give thanks for each and every day, and just stay connected to your people, and just recognize that our ancestors, they help guide our paths, and because we're here today and we're coming together to help each other out in one way or another. So we all need healing in our lives, and a lot of us pray for it, and a lot of us, we need some more than others, but that's what we're here for. And I just really appreciate, Two Feathers putting this on, and Chris and Jaimie and Nation, Amada, for everything that they're doing and reaching out to our youth and all the work that everybody's doing. And that's what it takes, really. It really takes us, and keep doing our jobs, keep being there for our youth, keep making good healthy decisions in your life that's going to make a good positive impact on people. And so you see somebody that's having a bad day, just put a smile on your face and just try to lift them up in good spirits. So, and somebody else can answer too.
Nish, could you repeat the question?
Yeah. So I was kind of asking, how can staying connected or even learning, being a beginner with culture, that could be, beading or language. How can being connected to culture like that break the chain of addiction? Because it is intergenerational. I think that's a word. We see it in Indigenous communities. So that's kind of the question.
For me, I guess I can follow up with that. I think it's just in surrounding myself with community, kind of what we've talked about, and just kind of fully indulging in the community of just starting to work in summer camps and putting myself out there within the community as a whole, and just interning at Pottawatomie, just different stuff where I kind of was nervous to kind of throw myself in there. But I think once you make connections and make stuff, you really realize that's healing, and it connects to culture, because everybody, I feel like, has their own talents within their traditions and their cultures that they bring. And so for me, I've really kind of been trying to connect more to language, and with my uncle Julian, he almost kind of scared me off with how much he's good at doing stuff, and I was always kind of scared to do stuff. But I think just kind of trying to overcome those boundaries that you think are there when they're not really there. But yeah, Jaimie, if you have a follow-up.
Okay. Well, I lost my mom to like drugs the past month, and at first, like, it was hard for me to like connect with like that. I knew something was there because it wasn't always just luck for me, I always felt something there, and now that, like, I don't know, like, hard to talk, but like I know she's there, I know something's there, like, I'm just trying to become more like connected, I guess, like figure it out a little better, like, it's hard sometimes, but yeah, I don't know, it's crazy, but I'm trying, it's a new learning process.
That's a great answer, Jaimie.
I second that. I think couldn't have a more better answer coming from somebody. I think it's just I kind of reside with you a little bit with the mom connection, and I think my mom, I think that was just something, hearing you having the courage and the stuff to be able to do this today and just talk and share your story. It's empowering to me as a youth mentor. So I just want to thank you too. And we have some questions coming from the audience that are really good questions. And so I would like to kind of bring it back. Let's see. So Amy, one of our workers at Two Feathers, she would like to ask, what advice, Gussto, would you have for parents or family members who see their teens engaging in destructive alcohol or other substance behaviors? And what do you think they can do to help that?
I would encourage them to either. That's a really good question because I've had teenagers at the time that were being in destructive behavior. I would say pull them out of that environment or get them away and maybe send them to their grandmas, because grandma's not going to let that let that go down like that, and I guess there's a time in our lives to when we need to go certain places and learn certain things from certain people. And, we learn stuff from our moms, we learn stuff from our uncles, then we learn stuff from our grandparents, and I believe a lot of our elders have a big influence on teenagers, and the stuff that they teach, like our cultural leaders. I would take them to possibly a cultural leader and that can teach the youth a better outlet than destructive behavior.
That sounds good. I like the send them to grandma. I think that's my grandma's one of my buddies, and I know she cracks the whip on my brothers. So I know that would be kind of a good idea as well. But I'm sure there's some aunties out there too, I've heard. But I have another question from Jen. One of our mentors is in a rural area and may have some connections issue, or actually, excuse me, that's the question above that. What are the challenges in living in a rural area? And what are some of the resources you've received, as well as some of the resources you might know that you can share?
Well, I've never really lived in a rural area, and I know I could just imagine, living in a rural area and all the resources that are really limited, and I would do my best to maybe write somebody and get a hold of somebody and maybe keep in contact with them through writing letters, or somebody that, that's the only thing I could think of right now, you know, writing stuff down on paper and maybe, I don't know. I know that sometimes if you're dealing with things, that putting it down on a piece of paper and then doing like a little ceremony and then burning them and sending all that up to creator to help you would be really good. That's the only kind of advice that I could give. Being in a rural area is really get connected with creator and maybe try that.
Thank you. And just kind of a little twist to this, just as the resource side, Jaimie, do you have any resources that you've maybe used or that have helped you just kind of get on the journey where you are?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, probation helped me out in a lot of ways. I met Yvonne in juvenile hall. She took me in. Like without her, like I don't think I would know a different way. You know what I mean? Like like just like Two Feathers, Sweat, like just stuff like that. Beating. Jeff, he taught me how, but yeah, just stuff like that, just become more like connected, just be comfortable with it, like don't always like, I don't know, just be comfortable.
Thank you. And Naish, if you want to chime in on anything that you've maybe heard, I know you're out in Hoopaw too, and kind of work with some of the kiddos out there.
Yeah, if you could kind of repeat the question real quick, please.
Oh, you're fine. It was just if you were aware of any resources out in Hoopaw that have been helpful to families under substance abuse or any of that sorts.
Okay, yeah, I think mainly, Jaimie and Gussto kind of covered it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just seeing if you had any under your belt, but Jeff,
Yeah,
you're fine. And from the comment section, Jeff actually has a really good question. And it's a little bit of a long one, so here it is. Gussto, a lot of time in early recovery, people have a hard time sitting with emotions and thoughts. I think this is a really difficult for youth. Do you have any advice on how you became comfortable with emotions and thoughts while expressing them in a healthy way?
Yeah, Jeff, he always has really good questions like that. And I guess for me, I'm just be yourself, and just be yourself, when you go into talk with youth. Don't try to be somebody you're not, don't try to be somebody. Just try to get on the kids' just get on their level, don't try to be somebody, higher or whatever, just that's a really good question. But yeah, definitely for me, I stay in prayer quite a bit, and I can just be myself, just be myself. And sure, I like to crack jokes once in a while, and I mean, I like to put smile on people's faces. And yeah, sometimes it gets pretty emotional when you talk about certain things, to our youth, you know, because it hits so close to home about certain things you could talk about. And I think we just need to stick together and help one another out when we need help, because times get really hard. And sometimes people don't have somebody to talk to, and we need to be there for them. So I hope I answered that question. I answered to the best of my knowledge.
I think you answered that very well. And I have one more question, and it's actually from the speaker tomorrow, Robbie Lara. He has a question. Jaimie, I know a young person that would like to know if using a substance will affect your karma. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I can. I think the way you walk in this life, everything you do, it definitely has a lot to do with what's coming next. You know what I mean? Like, I've definitely learned from that. Like the way who you are as a person, regardless if you're on drugs or not. Like, well, sorry, I'm nervous, but like I think everything has to, like everything you do, yeah, in this life, the way you walk, the way you talk, has a lot to do with what's coming, like what's coming next. You know what I mean? Like everything's connected. Like yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, everything's connected.
I agree. And I just want to give you a shout out, Gussto. I want to mention that Awak Lee Crumb's sister Elaine is watching for Gussto and said, my brother is so proud of you. So I just wanted to let you know that. And Eddie also said, hi, Daddy. That is his next. And I think that's awesome. That's your next generation watching too and just keeping tabs. So I just wanted to let you know you got some big
That
fan
makes
club.
me proud.
Thank you. And I think I have another question here from Marlette. I would like to, it's kind of this is a really good question. It kind of awestruck me. Would it be easier for the addicted in their families to turn a blind eye to the problem, or would it be easier if they called it out when they see it?
I wouldn't turn a blind eye to it, because I mean, being a part of somebody's recovery and helping them make that positive change is so fulfilling. Like, it's a good feeling for somebody that's in recovery. Like, if I can help somebody get off of drugs and get clean and sober, it's a good feeling. And my heart feels so happy to see that, to be a part of that, of somebody's making that good choice in their life. Like, man, I'm so proud that I helped them get clean and sober. You know, over and over again, I've helped a lot of people get clean and sober, and it really, it's a blessing to be a part of that. So yeah.
Thank you. And this is kind of a mini follow-up question because we also had Jen ask this in the very beginning and I didn't get to it. I just like, it's kind of a, what along your path, like what was the hardest part of your recovery, do you think, out of your journey?
The hardest part of my recovery. Man, there's just so many. There's so many. It's kind of hard to pinpoint one down, you know. But I guess one of the worst ones was when I lost my home. I lost my home, my kids. I lost everything, you know. I was kicked off the, tribal property. I wasn't wanted around because of my actions and my choices that I made. So that was a really tough time right there, to where I lost my kids' home. And it was due to my actions, my choices. And that really hit me really hard back in 2012 and 11. And once I lost my house and my kids, and I knew I needed to make, I knew I needed to come back from it. I was not going to give up. I was not going to give up and not let it tear me down. And because I have kids, and it kept reminding me, hey, you need to really step up and be a father. You need to really step up and be a positive mentor to these kids in the community. So I prayed on it. I went and got clean, and I've been clean ever since. Now I got my home back. I got a home for my kids. They're doing good. They're proud of their dad. And yeah, I came back from that, and I overcame it. And that was one of the downest parts of my addiction that I was at. And now I'm still in recovery. I'm still surrounded by people in recovery, and I'm making a positive difference. So
You are, and I think it's huge that you're able to be here today and again just share your path and be open to letting us ask you questions. I think that's huge. And Jaimie, would you like to maybe share your hardest part of maybe recovery or some of the challenges that you faced and overcome?
Yeah, I think one of the hardest parts was for me, like not having the place to do it. You know what I mean? Not having enough strength in myself to do it. You know what I mean? Not actually really wanting it because I didn't know it. You know what I mean? I don't know, like yeah, that was a big hard part for me. You know, and actually another hard part was emotions. I always pushed that away. I always did not want to deal with that. You know, I never want to deal with that. Never wanted to be seen to be weak, because, you know, if you're weak, you get picked on, or, you know, like looked at differently. Yeah, I don't like that. You know what I mean? But it's got to happen. You know, like if they're like that, then that's their own. You know, that's their own stuff they need to deal with. You know.
I like that. I think that everybody's on their own path. And if somebody wants to kind of come in and do that, give their opinion, it's like, oh, well, that's you. I think I'm doing my thing. And I think that's a lot of courage to say that. Because I know when I was kind of in high school, I think of a lot of just like all of these options to do. And I remember even having to be like, no, I'm doing this. I'm going to school. Like everybody just chill out. But thank you, Jaimie, for letting us kind of sit in on that. And I have a few more questions. Actually, the audience is hitting us away with all these questions, so I like it. Tawny, she asked, can you please talk about the things you do now with 7 years of recovery to keep you on the red road? Gussto?
that is a great question. I like it. The things I do now, I guess the things I do now is I teach what was taught to me. Like I was taught how to make drums. I was taught how to gamble. I was taught how to, make regalia. And I guess just teaching our youth, teaching what was taught to me in a good way. is really important, and it helps me stay on this good path. It helps me stay on this red road. And to see our youth happy and learning new things and making regalia, it could be making regalia, it could be beading, it could be learning culture, learning about, our history. And yeah, so it's definitely a really good question. I like it because I think culture has a lot to do with it. Learning our culture, teaching our culture, our songs, our just our native ways and how we were brought up, is really important.
Thank you for that. I think some of the stuff, the way that you're brought up, the way it almost is like a connecting back. You almost go back to, I've noticed a lot of that. It's because it's healing. It's powerful. Thank you for sharing that. And there's actually a youth tomorrow, Charlene, she has a pretty good question. I'm going to ask Gussto first, and then I'll let Jaimie answer after. How did you forgive your mistakes? And how did you give yourself for the mistakes that you've made and kind of been able to heal from that?
My mistakes I've made has caused me to do time in jail, prison, and making amends to people that I've hurt over time. And I'm still making amends, and it feels good to make amends, like to people that I've hurt or I've done wrong in the past, and so it just feels really good. It's a good feeling to, say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Um, I just want to let you know that I apologize. And from my heart, I want to say I'm sorry for the way I was acting or what I've done, you know, and it's healing. I believe that's healing when you go and do stuff like that.
I agree. And Jaimie, if you wanted to touch on how you've kind of maybe forgiven yourself or gone through those self thoughts and that self proclamation kind of.
I'm still working on that with some things, like some of the people that I've done some dirt to aren't here no more. You know what I mean? And it's like all I can really do with that is learn from it and know that I didn't like that, and know that I can't fix that because they're not here no more. So it's like to the next person, I will never do that again. I learned from that. You know what I mean? Always be like better than what I was and better than what I did before. You know what I mean? Like always take that to the next thing. What my mom told me before she passed away. Like she said, see the beauty in everything. Value what you have. Like, and she, like she never really told me nothing like that before. So it's like I try to live like that every day. You know what I mean? So
That's some powerful advice. And I think, again, from what I've seen so far of you, Jaimie, I think you're living to that. And I think we're kind of getting close to 1. So I'm going to do one final question. And it actually comes from our one and the only Shay from Two Feathers. I think she would like to ask, what is Jaimie and Gussto's next step in their recovery? And what do they want to see in their communities next? And either of you could go ahead and start off.
I'll go ahead and start off. What I want to see in my community, there's so much that I want to see. I want to see more gatherings, more get-togethers, more sobriety camps. I want to see, because that's where the healing starts. And I believe that we can be a part of that if we just continue to be on this path, and that's what I want to see in our community is the results from the healing. I want to see my neighbor happy and smiling and doing good, and I just want to see our people clean and sober and happy.
I think that is a great want, I think, and just having a healthy community, healthy people all around just brings all the health and wellness of everybody around, I think. And Jaimie, if you'd like to maybe give kind of what's your next step in your recovery journey and what maybe you'd like to see within the community or just different resources in general.
Oh God, I forgot. Okay, hold on 1 second. I think that my next step in recovery is definitely getting off probation and continuing to be clean without those handcuffs over my head. You know what I mean? Like actually, like I'm on my way. Like I'm actually wanting it for the first time. Being comfortable with it. Like it's not always like, oh, you're gonna get arrested. You have a dirty test. Like I want it this time. Like I want to show my sisters that I can do it. I want to show them like I want to like be able to stick my hand out and be like, come this way, so look at this, check this out, you know what I mean? Like this is cool, it's not always about chasing the bag, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, like I feel like I just want to be like the help that we never had, like I don't know, it's yeah. But for the community, I think just like not always like looking at like, oh, like NA or oh, like like I don't know. It's just hard. It's hard to be like to see it in a different way when you don't really know it like that. You know what I mean? So it's like just be open with it. Like don't always shut it down so fast.
I'm gonna kind of go off of that a little bit. Is what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do to be a positive influence in people's life today? And I'm gonna continue to be clean and sober, and I'm gonna continue to be available to our tribal membership, to somebody that can talk to and share them, help them with the resources that are available. So yeah, thank you everybody for all your good questions, your great questions. Of course we're a little bit nervous, but you know what, I'm glad that we got this time, we shared this time together, and I hope to cross each other's path again someday and share some more stories. And yeah, just let's just continue to make positive influences in people's lives and share some knowledge that we have and with our next generation, and just make a difference for the better.
Thank you, Gussto. I agree wholeheartedly. And I just want to give Naish an opportunity if she wants to speak what she'd like to maybe see different changes in her community surrounding recovery.
Yeah, thank you, Amada. The changes I would want to see is more in the moment support. A lot of times adults, they get caught up in being busy. And I remember as a youth, when I needed somebody to be there, I felt like they weren't there. They weren't listening. They had their heads in another conflict that they had going on. And I know as being a young adult now, how easy we can get wrapped up in our own lives and our own situations that it is hard to slow down. Just us as our characters is to sharpen our tools to help the youth. And another thing I would say is the way you think. Instead of I have to do this, I have to do that, it's more like I get to be sober, I get to learn. A lot of people probably don't have that opportunity, and the way you think is probably the biggest thing for me. I think, personally speaking, on personal experience, is changing the way you think. When you have understanding, when you have love, forgiveness is a huge thing that we can talk about and that we can build on as our skills. And yeah, that's what I would almost kind of say, because Gussto and Jaimie, you guys kind of talked about the big things you guys want to change for communities, and I was like, yep, that's my answer. But just those two things I added on. I love the answers, so thank you.
Thank you, Nation. I agree too. I think everybody's kind of, now that you've answered as well, everybody's kind of touched on all these topics. And I think for me, it's just the main thing is I just want to be able to have the people get the resources they need wherever they are, whether it's, I know Charlie, one of our hosts in the past, even a while back, he suggested having a small two feathers up even in Orleans or the Crook area, just like stuff where it's accessible to kids. And I think that comes with, those are prevention measures for recovery later on down the road, possibly giving these youth opportunities. And so I think that's, for me, is a huge one, is just working with youth. I like to get out in the outdoors, nature. I think for me wholeheartedly would be just getting these accessible to kids resources as well as adults. I think just having some fun programs for them to be able to recreate too. I know a lot of people think about kids, but I like thinking about elderly programs too, or walks in that sense. There's different stuff for everybody to kind of be able to heal. But I would like to kind of bring it back to Chris and let him wrap it up today.
I don't even want to wrap it up. I want you guys to keep going and keep talking. This is great. I will say to first to Jaimie, you were a badass. Excuse my language. You did a great job. I know you said you were nervous, but you didn't look nervous at all. I'm scared you're gonna take my job and end up being the host for the rest of the time. Like, you did great. Thank you for telling your story. Thank you for showing that side of you and showing being emotional. So thank you for that. Amada, Naishian, you guys are awesome too. Thank you for being that mentor to Jaimie, and thank you for you guys being there to ask questions, and thank you for that. Gussto, you were one of my mentors. Thank you for being here. Thank you for telling your story. I know you said it's important to be yourself, and you inspired a lot of people just by being who you are, being funny, being that person who's able to talk about serious stuff as well. So thank you for being that role model for them. Also, they're not on here now because they're being shy, but I want to thank Shay. I want to thank Yvonne for putting this stuff together, because they're also awesome. They're here for all of us. So thank you guys for that. Make sure you guys check us out tomorrow. We will be back with Robbie Lara and two more of our mentors and another one of our youth. So please make sure you guys check that out. I will be back tomorrow. We will see you guys there. Thank you guys for everything. Thank you guys for being there. Thank you guys for your comments. Amada, Naishian, Gussto, Jaimie, I want you guys to check out the comments on Facebook because they're great. They are giving you guys so much credit. So thank everybody for coming, and we will see you guys all tomorrow. Bye, guys.